Okay, so we're going to begin the last section of chapter Kuf Yutet 119 in Tehilim, Psalms. Hopefully we'll finish it tonight. We're doing 4 letters, so it's going to be a little bit lengthier, and I'll have to go through it a little bit quickly so we can accomplish. Just want to remind everyone that this last section deals with prayer, even though the central theme of the entire chapter has been about the importance of Torah in a Jew's life, how it serves as a guide, how it enlightens us, how it strengthens us, inspires us. Ultimately, the Torah, as well as the mitzvot, serve as a bond between us and Hashem. A Jew, therefore, who does not observe is not connected. Learning Torah, however, has the importance of also reminding a Jew of his task, of his mission in this world, reminding him of who he is and what he represents, and hopefully to deter him from getting into trouble. However, let's not forget the importance of prayer. And that is why perhaps towards the end of this chapter, he puts an emphasis on various important principles, but you'll see a great emphasis on prayer, how to reach Hashem, what words to say. In the past, there was no Siddur, there was no prayer book. You put together your own words. So these are powerful words reminding us how the prayer can reach Hashem. How do we make this prayer effective? And, of course, not to forget that even though you may be in a desperate situation, you can easily come out of it, hopefully, if you pray, as long as you do so sincerely. So we're holding the letters Kuf, Resh, Shin, Taf. All right, 4 letters. Verse Kuf, Mem, He, 145. Karati bechol lev aneni Adonai chukecha et tzora. I call out with all my heart, answer me, Hashem. I will keep your statutes. What stands out over here is calling out, but with all his heart. So he reminds us, listen, you want the prayer to get to Hashem, it needs to be with all your heart. So even though you may not be so meritorious, even though you may not have so many mitzvot on your record, still, Hashem will listen to you if that prayer is with all your heart. That is very much encouraging. People should not think just because they become distant from Hashem, He won't listen to them. It's true. The avonot, the sins, cause barriers. Prayer doesn't get through. But calling out b'chol lev with all the heart can make a big difference. And then he adds the words, therefore answer me, Hashem, chukecha et tzora. Because in the end, what do I want to do? I want to keep your statutes. This last words are important because the second verse, the following verse, will tell us another way that a prayer can be effective. And that is, if you have in mind the reason why you want to be saved, the reason why you want to be blessed, is because you want to observe the mitzvot, not because you want to have fun. It says, ultimately, why do I want you to listen to my prayer? Because I want to keep your mitzvot, chukecha et tzora. And same thing with the next verse. Look at Kuf Mem Vav. Kiraticha hoshi'eni ve'eshmir adotecha. They're very similar. I call out to you, save me, right, hoshi'eni, and I will observe your testimonies. So even though he's using a slightly different word for the mitzvot, nonetheless, that is the idea over here. It's not just because I want to enjoy life, I want to retire, I want to do things that interest me. No, in the end, I want you to protect me, I want you to save me, I want you to provide for me, because I realize the importance of observing the mitzvot. In order for me to do so successfully, with ease, I don't want to have too many struggles, I don't want to have enemies, I don't want to have lawsuits. So that's why the emphasis for this prayer, in order for the prayer to be effective, is with all their heart. And as the next verse says, and we do so because we are searching for a spiritual connection here with Hashem. Not for, I want to eat, I want a roof over my head, which is fine, you're allowed to ask for those things too, but who says you're going to get what you want? When you ask for that which is spiritual, Hashem, help me learn the Torah, help me observe the mitzvot, help me come close to you, there's a better chance that the prayer will be heard. Okay, so that's the emphasis in these first 2 verses. The next 2 pesukim also appear to be very similar, but they have to do with something that David HaMelech practiced. Not everyone is expected to do so, but something that can be very helpful and be to one's credit if he does so. And that's why he points it out. 147. Kidamti baneshe vashavea lidvarecha yechalti. I rose before dawn. He would get up early and cried out My hope is in your word. So, for those of you who know about nets, about getting up early in the morning, about praying not at 10 o'clock, sleeping long hours, but waking up, making that a priority. How do you make it a priority? You wake up. First thing you do is you pray. I mean, after you wash your hands, of course. So, you're not even going to have breakfast. You're not even going to do anything that relates to your business. You're going to first pray. And he did so early in the morning, when a lot of kings especially have no rush to do so. So this is an example for others to follow. If he can do so, so can we. Go to sleep early so you can have enough sleep, of course, and it should be easier. But it's not so much about just being diligent and about doing this on a regular basis. That's besides the point, of course. We want to be diligent, we want to do things on a regular basis, we want to show that we treat this as a priority. It's important to us. So when you do something regular, obviously, that is important too. Here it's getting up early. Getting up early is special in itself because that is a propitious time. Even though he doesn't say that, we know that. The rabbis tell us early in the morning, before dawn, around dawn, is a very propitious time to pray. Right away in the morning. So that's why he points this out here too. Again, we're relating this to prayer. He's connecting to Hashem. He's calling out to Hashem. And, of course, Lidvarcha yihalti. My hope is in your word, in what you promised me. Promised me what? In other words, that if I observe the mitzvot, that I do things right, that you will help me. Okay, so look at the next pasuk now, and you will see that it's a similar idea. Kidmu einai hashmurot laseach bimratecha. My eyes preceded the night watches that I may discuss your word. So here he's not so much talking about tefillah, he's talking about imratecha. He's talking about to talk or to discuss your word. That is the learning of the Torah. He actually got up early, midnight, around midnight, to learn, to say Tehilim as well. So there's different parts of the night over here that he's getting up. This is a time when most people are asleep. And as we've explained in the past, everybody else is asleep or going to a movie, and this guy is learning Torah, is singing to Hashem. It makes a big impression. The Zohar describes how the malachim, the angels, come and listen to him. He says, look, everybody else is wasting their time. Everybody else is immersed in vanities and doing ridiculous things. And this one is doing something right. He's praising Hashem. He's praying to Hashem. He's studying the Torah. So he points this out. I've done this. So therefore, hopefully Hashem will consider this and hear my prayer. Yes, this includes Tikkun Chatzot and all the special prayers around that time, sure. But here the emphasis is on the learning of Torah. That's why he uses the word imratecha, to discuss your word. It's not so much the prayer itself, even though it includes that too, but here he's referring to the study of the Torah. Next, Kuf Memtet Koli Shim'ak Kechazdecha Adonai Ki Mishpatecha Chayeni, 149. Hear my voice in keeping with your kindness. Hashem grant me life, as is your practice. So here, he reveals to us the famous word that he's used many times, chasdecha. Whenever he does that, kindness, yeah, I may not have too many merits. I may not be such a good person after all. Or, I may be, but I've used up. Like Yaakov says, katonti mikol hachasadim. Maybe all my merits are diminished. They've been used up. You've been so kind to me all along. Maybe I used up all the merits. So I'm asking for your kindness. Listen, therefore, to my call, to my voice. Kehazdecha. Hashem. Kemishpatecha chayeni. This is your practice. What do you mean your practice? Yes, your practice. This is the way you do things. You're kind. You're kind, meaning even with those who don't deserve it. Chesed is even with those who don't deserve it. There may be a zechut, there may be a merit. That's beautiful. But not everyone has enough merit. You can still pray. So that's why he reminds us there's something called chesed. Point it out. Hashem, you're Bal Chesed. You are Rahman too. We're going to see compassion too in a moment. Kuf Nun, verse 150. Karevu rotei zimam metoratcha rachaku. Those who pursue mischief, in this case zimam means mischief, draw near. They are far from your Torah. There's two interpretations to this verse. What does it mean they draw near? Those who have been mischievous, who've been involved in mischief. So it could be that they've gone in that direction, they've become near to doing what they've done wrong. Why? Because mitoratecha rachaku. You want a good explanation of why some people go into mischief? Because they're not involved in Torah. Had they been involved in the Torah, perhaps that would have deterred them. Look what happens to people who let go of the Torah. They leave school early, perhaps, and they go on to the big world, and they get lost. So karvuro teizima, they've gone in that direction of mischief because mitorat charachaku. But it can also be alluding to a different kind of karvu. Karvu meaning come near. Who has come near? Who has done teshuvah? Even rotfei zima, those who in the past were mischievous, were doing the wrong thing. And why were they doing the wrong thing? Still, even they can come back. So karavu here could also mean they've come near. Those who in the past have been distant, have been involved in doing the wrong things. What is to blame? Not having been learning Torah. Doesn't mean that everyone who learns Torah is not going to do anything wrong. It's more of a guarantee. It's a little bit safer to assume that those that follow the Torah truthfully, not that they're faking it, truthfully they will follow and abide by the Torah, that they will not be involved in anything that is wrong, illegal, and the like. Kuf Nun Aleph, 151. Karov ata Adonai v'chol mitzvotecha emet. You are near, Hashem, and all your commandments are truth. Well, you can see the relationship between this verse and the one that was before. What happened before? We talked about those that were distant from Torah. Well, Karov ata, Hashem, you are near. In reality, you're very near. You're not far from us. We become far from you, but you are near. V'chol mitzvotecha emet. As long as we would abide by the mitzvot, because all your statutes, all your commandments are truth. In other words, so if one would learn the Torah, if one would see the truth, then he would automatically want to be close to Hashem. Because in reality, what is holding people back from becoming closer to you? Because they don't have that emet, they don't have that Torah. But you are close, as the Torah says it in other words. It's very close, it's very easy actually. But people choose not to. Not that they can't, they choose not to be close. But all your mitzvotecha are emet. So what are we missing here? We're missing that ingredient called emet, the truth. If one wants to know the truth, he can find it, he can discover it. Hashem is near him. But that's what it will take. It will take for one to realize that this is the truth. Once he realizes that this is the truth and he has clarity, he'll hopefully want to be close. How come he hasn't been? Because he was away from the Torah. So these Pesukim can be read together. People have become distant because they've left the Torah. People can come close once they realize the emet. Kuf Nun Bet 152. Kedem yadati mevotecha ki leolam yesatam. From the very beginning, he says, I discerned from your testimonies that you had established them forever. So here he's talking about himself, and he says from the very beginning. What's from the very beginning? It could be that he's just saying that a long time ago, from the very beginning, he realized that right away, without too much effort, that Hashem created the world, that this Torah is emet. Not like some people want to say that some committee put it together. You put it together. You've established this forever. This is not even a temporary thing. Not for one generation and not for 10 generations. This is forever. So I realized this from a long time ago. And of course, as a result of that, I have an advantage. I've been following this path without interruption. Because I realized this truth a long time ago. However, there is other ideas behind this verse. The rabbis tell us, for example, that a child, a baby, is taught the Torah while it is in its mother's womb. After it comes out, there's an angel that gives him a small slap and he forgets the Torah. Later on, he needs to learn the Torah on his own. So why did he teach it to him to begin with if he's going to make him forget it as soon as he comes out? So that learning of the Torah in the mother's womb, which is alluded to in the word kedem, from the very, very beginning, as as a, I guess you can say, as a fetus, right? It's in order to give him the tools that he will need to be able to want to go in this direction, to be able to be drawn to it. That his neshama should realize, oh, this belongs to me. This is something I can identify with. I recall this from somewhere. It makes it easier. So even those who may not have had a Jewish education, somehow they will connect with it. There's that spark in them that will hopefully draw them into it. So all that learning that was done in the mother's womb serves as an introduction, serves as a foundation, which is all alluded to in the word kedem. From the very beginning, I knew of your mitzvot. And of course, I know that these apply forever. I'm not going to say that these only apply for a certain amount of time, then it's okay to reform it, to change it, like certain people have tried to do, unfortunately. We have no right to do so. Le'olam, they are intended to be forever. All right, we can go on to the next verse. Kuf Nun Gimel. Re'e oni v'chaletzeni ki toratecha lo shachachti. Very important pasuk over here in describing the situation that a lot of people go through, and that is poverty or some kind of painful experience that they're in and that they're struggling with. And he describes himself as being part of that because that's what he went through. Not poverty per se, but other difficult challenges. He says, Re'e oni v'chaletzeni. Look at or pay attention to my affliction. The word oni means something like affliction. And deliver me or save me from this situation. For I have not forgotten your Torah. Okay, so he's talking about a situation which is very, very challenging. And obviously he doesn't want to remain there. And he's asking Hashem for help. But why should Hashem help him now? Because I did not forget your Torah. So he is telling us, look, this may help you too. If you're ever in a situation that is very difficult and you think you're stuck, remember not to let go of the Torah, because that learning of Torah, even during that time, can be a tremendous merit. As David Melech says here, as a result of me not forgetting your Torah, even during those times that I had it very hard, I'm asking you to help me. So we see various situations, circumstances, where different kinds of merits can help one. Here, in this case, it's the Torah. What kind of Torah? Not just learning Torah. Learning Torah during a difficult time. Upstairs, in the heavenly court, you're going to say, wow, kol hakavod lo. You know, we give him tremendous respect, how he continues to learn Torah despite the hardships that he has. And that is what the rabbis tell us in different words. In Pirkei Avot, kol hamekabel al atzmo ol Torah ma'avilim mimeno ol derech eretz. Whoever accepts upon himself the yoke of heaven, the yoke of Torah, they will remove from him the yoke of mundane things, repairing major plumbing problems in your home, all kinds of issues that may arise that will take your time and distract you, and you don't want to have this in your head. Forget about the expense. Let's say you have the money, but it's a headache. Hashem says, I won't give you all these kinds of headaches if you already have. You've already committed to Torah, so you already are busy and you already occupied yourself with a tremendous yoke here. I'm not going to give you additional yokes. But if you don't want that yoke, then be prepared. You're going to have other yokes, other burdens. So, Toratecha lo shachachti will be a merit. That a person says, this is what I want. This is what I want to be busy with. I don't want to be busy with other things. Hashem says, fine. If that's the case, this will be to your credit. So he asks in his prayer that Hashem see my affliction and see what I've done during that time of affliction and help me out. Next verse, 154. Wage my battle and redeem me. Grant me life for the sake of your word. It happens that we have battles. Some battles are difficult to avoid. It's part of the mazal. Okay, what can we do? We didn't ask for it. We didn't do anything wrong to actually bring ourselves to that situation. Things happen like that. There are all kinds of people in this world. You know, like they say about driving, you gotta drive defensively. Even though you're a good driver, you don't know about the next one. So you have to drive defensively, to be on the lookout drunk people out there, people that are not paying attention, texting perhaps. So you got to watch out for others. Here he's talking about battles. Hashem, wage my battles because I didn't ask for these battles. I didn't do something directly to get involved in such a battle. I realize that all kinds of battles and struggles is all Mishamayim for some reason. Of course, it doesn't happen for no reason. It happens for a reason. But at least I didn't do something now to invite myself into this situation. So what do I ask? Well, if I couldn't avoid the battle, at the very least, helping the battle. So that's what he says, Riva, Rivi, Ugealeni. He doesn't say, let me stay out of battle. That would be nice too. I don't want the battle. No, you're going to have battles. That's life. All kinds of battles, but how are you going to deal with them? That's going to be up to you. So he's asking for help. Help me at the very least, deal properly with this battle. Wage the war for me, Ugealeni, and redeem me. Grant me life for the sake of your word. So here he's reminding us again that the reason he wants the life, the reason he wants to stay around is Limratecha, for the sake of your words, not for my sake and not for my honor. It's for your honor. Okay, next pasuk, Kuf Nun Hey, 155. Rachok mireshaim Yeshua ki chukecha lo darashu. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they seek not your statutes. Well, that's easy. Since they don't seek the mitzvot, they don't want to come close to it, they're not interested, that for them the Yeshua will be far, it will be distant. A lot of people have complained to me, Rabbi, I pray and I do all kinds of things and Hashem doesn't listen to me, what's wrong? So I start analyzing their life, and obviously they're not doing a lot of mitzvot. You know, how come you're working on Shabbat? Don't you know that the source of blessing, it comes from the Shabbat? But Rabbi, Shabbat is my best day. I don't care if it's your best day. Yeah, you're being disrespectful of the Torah. And by the way, you think it's your best day. Don't you realize that all the money that you made on Shabbat, you're going to lose it? Eventually, it may not be this year, maybe next year. All of a sudden, all the Shabbatot, thousands and thousands of dollars, and he won't really connect. He won't realize that it's because of that, unless he learns. But that's what happens over here, when he reminds those who are not so observant that their Yeshua is not easily going to come to them. Why? Ki chukecha lo darashu. They didn't seek the statute. They didn't seek to observe themselves. How do you expect to pray and to be answered? Kuf Nun Vav 156. Here's the verse about Rachamun, compassion. Rachamecha rabbim Adonai ki mishpatecha chayeli. Your mercies are great, Hashem. Grant me life as is your practice. Compassion. If Hashem is compassionate on animals, it says, on birds, the more so on the human being. As long as ki mishpatecha chayeli. In other words, if obviously we observe his mitzvot. That is what he said in the Torah. If you follow my statutes, I will bless you. I will provide for you. But just in case we didn't do things properly, there's something called rachamim, compassion. Hashem has compassion. And he realizes that we're only human, we're frail. We succumb sometimes to all kinds of temptations. So use this rachamim as well in asking Hashem to have compassion on you. Next verse 157. Rabim rodefai v'tzarai me'edvotecha lo natiti. There are many pursuers, and there are many tzarai, many enemies, I guess we can call them aggressors. Yet I did not run away from your testimonies. It could happen that people who are being pursued by enemies were having all kinds of difficulties, all kinds of struggles. They say, that's it, I'm giving up. Where is God? How come this is happening to me? He had a lot of trouble, David HaMelech. Because there were many who pursued me. I didn't move away. Lo natiti, from your statutes. Take it from me, therefore, David HaMelech says, I didn't move away. I had this too. I went through this. And a lot of people don't go through what David HaMelech went through. Everybody knows his story, his life story. He went through a lot of difficulties. Battles, challenges, enemies, pursuers. Lo natiti. And obviously this helped him. This was to his merit. Look at Kuf Nun Chet now, 158. Very interesting verse. It says, even though, Baruch Hashem, I was able to be strong, don't think that I just minded my own business. And I said, Shalom alay nafshi. I'm going to do what's right, and I'm going to at least save my skin. When I would meet up occasionally with these people, Ra'iti Bogdim is called them. Bogdim is a very, very heavy word. It means those who are traitors. He says, I saw them. I met up with them. And I quarreled with them at Kotata. I fought with them, but not fought physically. At Kotata means to quarrel, to argue. They turned away from your testimonies. They did not keep your words. They're traitors. They went against the Torah. I could have ignored them. I could have said, at least I'm doing the right thing. No. I did this too. Otherwise, remember, Bashamayim, they can accuse an individual for just about anything. Okay, he's a nice guy, but he doesn't care about others. He doesn't care if they lose their life. He doesn't care if they go to Gehenna. And he could definitely say something to them. They may listen to him. This could be a big accusation. Anybody that has the power, has any degree or level of influence over somebody else, he has to try at least once, especially if he's a relative, a friend. You have to at least once try your best to tell him, listen, this is wrong. Do it this way. If he doesn't listen to you after trying your best, then you're not responsible anymore. This is an adult, not a little child, where a parent needs to go a lot more, go beyond than just trying. Do a lot more, sending him to the right school, making sure that he has good friends. Children are different, but adults, you try your best when there's a chance that they may listen to you. Now, you don't know if they will, so you have to try. Now, of course, if you met up with people who completely will mock you, ridicule you, or hit you, then you're exempt. Obviously, you don't have to get into trouble because of that. But that's what David HaMelech has done. Even this, he says, not only did I do everything right, I did not let others forget their responsibility, that they will be held accountable. I quarreled with them. Why are they not observing your mitzvot? What's their excuse? Kuf Nun Tet 159. Look how I love your precepts, grant me life, Hashem, according to your kindness. Here, I think we can say that he's explaining why he quarreled. He's telling us, I loved your mitzvot. Don't think I quarreled because I'm picking a fight, just because I want to prove them that I'm right. No. I really cared. So this is somewhat of an explanation for the previous verse. Pikudecha ahavti. I really love your precepts. And therefore, since I love your precepts, you be kind to me. I'm not doing this because I want some reward. I'm really doing this out of love, not out of fear for anyone. I did my best because I really care. That's what this verse is about. And therefore, be kind to me. Consider this, that I really was interested to observe the mitzvot out of love. There's a difference in the level of doing things out of love or doing things out of fear. Or doing things because somehow you're obligated to do it. It's not so much about obligation. Of course, it's our duty to do the mitzvot. But David HaMelech did reach the level of ahavti, he says. I really loved it. Not everybody can claim that title, that he loved the mitzvot. So this is also to a merit. This is definitely a merit. Now, who is he talking to? Hashem knows this. He's talking to the ones who are in charge of accepting the prayers. They're going to say, what is he talking about? No, I loved it. I love the mitzvot. I didn't just do it because it was routine. Something that is done out of routine is cheap. He was excited, he cared about it, and even when he quarreled with others, he did so because he loved the mitzvot. He knew all along that this is the truth. Isn't it a shame that they should not merit a share to the world to come? So therefore, give me life in your kindness. Be kind to me in the same way that I show that love for your mitzvot. Kuf Samach 160. This is the last verse of the letter Reish. ראש דברך אמת ולעולם כל משפט צדקך. The beginning of your word is truth, and forever are all your righteous judgments. The beginning of your word is truth. Well, what's the beginning of Hashem's words? It depends if we're talking about Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, the beginning of the Torah, that in the very beginning Hashem created the world, or we're talking about Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments. They both are true here. They both are applicable. They both can be alluded to in this verse. Rosh Devarecha Emet. So let's begin with Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. In the very beginning God created the world. So we're saying that this is true. Since that is true, I also believe Kol Mishpat Tzidkecha is forever. In the same way I believe that you created the world in the very beginning, that statement is true, so do I believe that your mitzvot are true, and they are forever. It's not that, yes, there was some supreme power that created the world, but who says he gave it Torah? In the same way that statement, the first words in that Torah is true, so is the rest of it. So are the mitzvot true. Or you could say, as the rabbis tell us, that this is talking about the Ten Commandments. When one reads the first commandments, the first, right? Rosh Devarecha, your first words, that say what? I am your God that took you out of Egypt. Don't have any other God. Oh, Hashem is only talking about himself. Hashem said what he said just for his honor. Comes along Hashem, no. Look at the other commandments. Look at the other 8 commandments. It's all for you. Don't steal. Honor your parents. Look at the mitzvot. This is for your benefit too. So there should be social order. Don't think I only did this for me. I am your only God. Don't have any other God. So yes, in the same way that the other commandments make sense and are true, so are the first 2 commandments relating to Hashem. Just like he gave us those to our benefit, he gave us the first 2. In other words, in the same way that those are true, so are these. And of course, all the mitzvot are eternal, not to be changed. By the way, if you look at the first 3 words, Bereshit bara Elokim, the last 3 letters make emet. The word emet, truth. So you see the seal of Hashem is truth. It's insinuated in the very beginning of the Torah. Alright, we're going on to the letter Shin. Sarim redafuni chinam midvarcha pachad libi. Verse 161. Princes, Sarim, have pursued me without cause, for no reason. But it is your word my heart fears. Don't think I fear them even though I had to deal with them. Ultimately, what I really care about, what I really fear, are your mitzvot. The Chovat HaLevavot, the book, Duties of the Heart, brings a story of an individual that was found sleeping in the desert. People saw him, maybe a caravan. Aren't you afraid? There's wild animals in the desert. I'm only afraid of him. Afraid? Fearful? Only of God. If you're really fearful only of God, you have no reason to fear anybody else, anything else. And that is more or less what David Melech says here. Even though, who pursued me? Sarim, princes, powerful people. Midvarcha pachad libi. I really was more concerned and more afraid of observing your commandments, making sure I do the right thing, much more than being fearful of them. All right, next verse. 162. I rejoice at your word like one who finds abundant spoil. Famous verse. I rejoice on your word as one who finds a tremendous amount of spoil. You know, spoil, the spoils of war. Here he's describing the love, the simcha, and the happiness that he has for observing the mitzvot, like finding. When you find something unexpectedly, especially something which is in abundance, shalal, the booty, it brings tremendous excitement. So he's using this metaphor, perhaps, if you can call it that, of finding tremendous amount of spoil to describe that his simcha for observing the mitzvot was real. It wasn't fake, it was real. as though he had just found something. Imagine a woman lost her wedding ring. There have been stories like that. And eventually a fisherman was able, after many years, to find it in his fishing rod somehow or in some other way. There have been stories like that, and somehow he looked it up, who it belonged to, who was there, who had a lost object there. And to be reunited with that wedding ring, that's something that was so precious, brought tremendous joy. So here he describes to us, this is what he felt, sincerely. This is something to aspire to. Not everybody has that. And we must remember that a lot of times it has to do with the amount of sin that a person has committed that just diminishes that joy that would otherwise be. The neshama really doesn't want to do it. But there's all kinds of things that block its way, that darken its eyes. And that's how people lose interest. It's not just the difficulties of life. There's other things that take away that joy. And here somehow David HaMelech, despite all the hardships, he was able to retain that joy. Kemotzeh shalarav, this is not just happiness, this is like finding a mitziyah, finding something that is so precious in such great abundance. So he rejoiced al imratecha, on the mitzvot, on the commandments. Next verse. Actually, before we go to the next verse, the rabbis do talk about this verse referring to the Brit Milah, the circumcision. David HaMelech was once taking a bath and he felt bad. He didn't have any mitzvot on him. No tefillin, no tzitzit, he's in the bathhouse. But he reminded himself that he has the Brit Milah. So he's referring here to the Brit Milah, to the circumcision that he had at all times. And from that the rabbis learned that any mitzvah that the Jews once upon a time accepted with joy, the first time around, they still continue to do it in a joyful way. They celebrate, and that is the circumcision. That is one example of something that was always an occasion that was very much celebrated, even by those who are distant from Torah. They very, very much celebrate this mitzvah. So this joy is related to the circumcision as well. Sheker saneti v'ta'im v'toratecha ahavti, that's 163. Also a very important verse, because it tells us over here one of the important conditions on how to bring about this joy. How to really bring about an attachment to Torah is a condition of this verse. So basically what he says is, Sheker saneti. I hate falsehood. I not only do not engage in falsehood, I hate it. And abhor it, but your Torah I love. Look at the contrast here. In order to love the Torah, you have to have this. That is why he mentions this in the very beginning of the Pasuk. If a person does not hate falsehood, if he's okay with it, he will tolerate, he will not protest if he sees it, that means he's okay with it. He doesn't mind. That does not go along with the love for Torah. It's impossible. If you love the Torah, you hate sheker. If you hate sheker, it will be easier for you to connect and eventually to love Torah, to grow in Torah. This is required. No tolerance whatsoever for that which is false. Because a person cannot say, okay, I will only be false here. I will only cheat on my taxes. But God forbid, when it comes to business, I will be honest. No, there's no such thing. If a person is dishonest here, he will be dishonest in other areas. He might be dishonest at home with his spouse. No sheker, no tolerance for falsehood. Otherwise, it doesn't go with Torah. With the love for Torah, impossible. That's why he emphasizes this. I hated this, because that's the way it should be. No tolerance for falsehood. Kuf Samach Daled 164. Sheva bayom hilarticha mishpetei tzidkecha. Very interesting verse, because he chooses the number 7 for some reason here. He says, 7 times a day I praise you because of your righteous judgments. Okay, that's very nice of you. 7 times a day. Why 7? No, 7 times a day, not a week. 7 times a day. Well, we pray 3 times. So what? So there's different commentaries, of course. Even though there may be additional ideas here on the Kabbalistic level, 7 is a significant number. Either he's referring to the Berachot or Shema. You have 2 before in the morning and 1 after, and at night 2 before and 2 after. Altogether you have 7. You could be talking about the 7 mitzvot that surround us, We have the tefillin of the head and the hand, that's 2. We have the 4 corners of the tzitzit, and we have the mezuzah at the entrance of the door. So, some commentaries mention those as being what he's talking about here, the 7. Others say that 7 is just a number that's used to describe numerous times. There's another verse similar to that. Either way, he's saying, I've done this many times. I've praised you numerous times during the day. Al mishpetei tzidkecha. Because of your righteous judgments. What judgments is he talking about over here? This is not testimonies, this is judgments. Either he's talking about the judgments on the enemy that he's going to bring. That's judgment. Or he's just talking about how righteous the judgments are. In general, Hashem's judgment, the way he conducts himself in this world. So he praises Hashem because he's noticed. He's taking notice of how everything has a reason, everything makes sense. And this takes time to realize this. And David HaMelech has come to the point where he sees the righteousness in Hashem's actions. There's something else, however, that is 7, that most people forget, that is pretty much emphasized in the beginning of Tehilim, at the very least, and that is the kinor, with the harp with 7 strings. So that 7 could be applying to that, because he did sing. There was music involved in a lot of the compositions, and it could be referring to that too. Okay. Kuf Samachay 165. Shalom Rav Lo'aveh Toratecha ve'lamu michshol. There's abundant peace. Rav, Shalom Rav. For those who love your Torah, and there is no stumbling for them. Beautiful pasuk. So David HaMelech is talking about peace. Who's going to have peace? Ohaveh Toratecha, those that love your Torah. What kind of peace? En lama michshol. They will not stumble. So the peace here is not necessarily peace from enemies per se. We have enemies all the time. But they have more tranquility, more peace of mind. Because as a result of that love that they have for the Torah, they don't covet. They're not going to be jealous. They're not going to hate. You know how many people have so much stress in their life? Headaches. Problems only because they don't have the Torah. They don't have something to calm them and teach them. There's no reason for you to get upset. Whatever is coming to you, nobody will take it away from you. If it's coming to you, not a penny. People don't just know this on their own. You have to learn this. So shalom Rav Lo'aveh, those who love the Torah have real shalom, peace of mind. What does it say in Arabic? Rahat al-bal. Ve'en lamu michshol, they don't stumble. They will not stumble. They won't make mistakes because they're always doing the right thing. They're connected to the Torah. They love your Torah. So they have real peace, those who love the Torah. Others say that this is also referring to Talmidei Chachamim, the rabbis, the scholars, who may be arguing with each other about the halakha. What is the correct ruling in a particular law? But they're still friends. There's still peace amongst them, even though they argue all the time. Those who love the Torah will not really get into a fight. They may argue, but not into a fight. They'll have peace amongst themselves. Kuf Samach Vav 166. Sibarti lishuatcha lo'em mitzvotecha asiti. I hope for your salvation, Hashem, and I performed your commandments. Look at the word sibarti. Sibarti means to look forward. It's a very, very special word. And this could be referring to Mashiach's time. The rabbis tell us, why did the prophets and the Chachamim talk so much about Mashiach? Why did they look forward to it? It's not just because of the mitzvah, to wait for it. When Mashiach comes, the world's going to change. There will be peace and no more war. There will be tranquility. No more pain and suffering, no more disease, no more problems, no more evil inclination. I'm looking forward to that Yeshua, to that salvation. But it's not because I want to live in peace and I don't want to have troubles. No. It's because I want to observe your Torah and your commandments without trouble. Right now, there's a lot of things that prevent me from doing that properly. The Chachamim, the Nevi'im, the prophets, they looked forward not because they want to enjoy life. That was never the reason why they looked forward. Hopefully Mashiach will come soon. Because a lot of people have this wrong idea. When Mashiach comes, they'll live happily ever after. No, it's not about that. It's not about just having it easy and quiet. It's about being able to observe the Torah mitzvot without any interruptions, without obstacles, without an evil inclination, without war and disease. That's the reason why Siparti, I look forward to Yeshuatecha, to your salvation. All right, look at the next two verses. For those of you who know a little Hebrew, you will notice a little bit of a difference, even though they're similar. In 167, it says, Shamera nafshi edotecha va'oveh meod. My soul, nafshi, has kept your testimonies, shamra, and I love them intensely. Meod. Look at 168. Shamarti, not shamra. It's also he's talking about himself too. I have kept your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you. Ki chol derachai nevdecha. So what exactly is the difference between the first verse in 167 says also shamra? It doesn't say shamarti. And the simple reason, the grammatical explanation of that is because here it's talking about shamra nafshi. So you can't say shamarti. You follow? When you're talking about what observed, my nefesh, my soul, then shamra is correct. But in Kuf Samachet in 168, he doesn't talk about his nafshi. He just says, I observed. So he doesn't say shamra. He says shamarti. Still, what exactly is he talking about? Why in 167 he's talking about that his nefesh, his soul, has kept your testimony, and I love them very much. In the next verse he says, I have kept your precepts. Shamra also alludes to, or can be used to describe a situation where you guard them inside. Not just to observe, you guard them. Since we're talking about nafshi in this verse, it's the soul. He's guarding this in his heart. It means a lot to him. He's looking forward for any opportunity to do so. A lot of people, as I've explained with tzedakah, they just wait for the opportunity that tzedakah comes their way. Okay, they give. Not everyone goes looking for the poor man. Here you have an individual who's looking forward to the mitzvot. There was one great rabbi that after 9 days of not putting on tefillin because of Sukkot Chol HaMoed, he was by the window. When is the sun going to rise so I can finally put on my tefillin? It's just an example. Great people who looked forward. When can I have another opportunity? When can I have the zechut, the merit to do this mitzvah? So Shamra Nafshi, it's my nefesh, my soul, that very much looked forward, observed, of course, your testimonies. And why does it say Shamra Nafshi here? Because we're talking about how much he loved them. He loved them intensely. So therefore he always waited for the opportunity to perform them. Kuf Samachet, however, is more general. I observed or kept your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you. Here he adds another interesting detail in reminding us, you know why you better keep the mitzvot? Because your ways are before him. He knows exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, why you're doing it. Hashem is aware of everything. Hashem sees what we're doing. We can't give excuses to him. He can give excuses to other people, perhaps. So this helped me too, he says. He's being honest. He says, listen, this helped me too in realizing that Hashem is watching. I don't want to come upstairs and be embarrassed. They know the truth. Everything is documented. So this detail of Hashem knowing everything, that my ways are before him, helped me also observe your precepts. All right, we've reached the letter Taf. The last letter of the chapter, Kuf Samach Tet, 169. Tikrav rinati lefanecha Adonai kidvarcha havineni. Let my prayer approach your presence. Hashem, grant me understanding according to your word. Look at the unusual word. It's not so unusual, but it's not the typical one in this chapter. Rinati. We've been talking about prayer, and even though Rinati is also prayer, in the sense, let my prayer approach your presence, it's not an ordinary prayer. It's a prayer sung to Hashem, in praise of Hashem. It's important to keep in mind that this is a special prayer because of the next verse that also talks about a different kind of prayer called Tehina, which involves more pleading with Hashem. So he's talking about different kinds of prayers now. And he's saying, let this prayer that is being sung to you come close to you. Grant me understanding according to your word. So, what does the last words have to do with the first words? The first words, you can say, well, he's talking about a prayer that is being sung, let it be heard before you. But he's asking, Kidvarcha havineni, give me some understanding of how to pray. According to your word, it was according to the way you would want me to pray, because I'd love to do it with kavanah, with real intent and focus. I want that rinah to not just be a song, I want it to be real. I want it to be sincere. So therefore, in order to do that, kidvarcha havineni, give me binah. What do we need binah for? Understanding. Just say words. Words are cheap. To do so with rinah from the heart, like he said before, it requires some understanding of how important these words are. For one to be sincere, you need to have a clean heart too. So he's asking for help, which is perfectly fine. I wish everybody would be asking for this kind of thing. So he asks for understanding on how to pray with Rina. Kuf Ayin, however, is slightly different. Tavo tachinati lefanecha kimratecha hatzileni. Let my supplication, I guess we can translate it. It's like pleading with Hashem. Let the supplication come before you. Save me according to your promise. What promise? Hashem says, if you plead with me, you pray to me, I may listen to you. So I'm using tehina now. Sometimes we have to use tehina to plead with Hashem. If the prayer hasn't been heard, we haven't been answered yet, don't give up. Use tehina. Plead, and maybe you will be helped. Ask Hashem over and over, kavel Hashem, hope that Hashem will answer you one day. Never give up hope. No prayer is wasted. Even though you may not have been answered today, you may be answered another day. Pleading is sometimes necessary, by the way, because there are accusations sometimes. And those accusations cause an ikuv. They delay, they prevent. And we don't want that. So, tahinati. Let my tahina be heard before you. And save me like you promised you would. Kuf Ayin Aleph 171. Tabana sefatay tehila ki tilamideni chukecha. My lips utters praise for you. You have taught me your statutes. What's different about this verse? But look at the last words. It's important to always read the entire verse so we have an idea of the context. The context over here is similar to what we said several times before. I want you kitilamideni chukecha. I want you to instruct me, to teach me your statutes. In other words, I want to praise you. I want to express your praise. Ultimately, kitilamideni chukecha. In order that you should instruct me. What does that mean? That in order that you should instruct me? I think the best way to understand this is to read it a little bit differently. Tehilah, praise. When do we praise Hashem, or when did David HaMelech praise Hashem? When he won, when he was victorious in the battlefield, a lot of times. Here he's saying, Hashem, I want to be able to praise you this time for something else. Not just for victories at the battlefield. Kitilamideni chukecha. That I was able to understand your learning. You have taught me. I want to be able to praise you for this, not for that. Even though I praise you for that and I thank you for that, but who wants to be at the battlefield? So now he says, let all the focus of my praise be for this, that you have taught me. Let me share that with everyone. Let me share that excitement. Let me share what I've learned. Let me praise it or express my thanks to you for this type of thing, not for victories at the battlefield. That's 172. My tongue will echo your word, for all your commandments are just. Whenever the word ta'an is used, I will raise my voice. I will say so out loud. I will share it with people. All your statutes are just. I will tell them this. It's not, again, he's not keeping this for himself. You could have said, I'm impressed. I'm excited. No, I'm going to share that excitement. I'm going to tell people how impressed I am. So they should also be impressed. Don't keep it to yourself. The verse says, Hashem gave us the Torah through Moshe as a morasha, as an inheritance for the entire congregation of Yaakov. It's not just for you. If you have it, share it. If you know something that others don't know, share it. It's a morasha for all of us. So whatever you've taught me, whatever I've seen, whatever I perceive, ta'an leshoni, I will raise my voice, my tongue will echo your word, for your commandments are just. 173, Tehi yadecha le'ozreni ki fikudecha bacharti, also a very important verse. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. Read the end first, it will make more sense. Because I have chosen to observe your precepts, I want you to help me. This is exactly what they say in Farsi or in Arabic, right? In other words, you make an effort. Hashem, I tried. I tried. I chose this, I want this. Therefore, since I want this, you help me. Rabbis tell us in different words, whoever wants to be pure, he wants to be righteous, he wants to, he will receive divine assistance. But prove it, show it, demonstrate it. Are you for real, or are you just saying words? People pray all the time. No, prove it. Hashem, I chose this and you know that. Therefore I ask you to help me out. 174. I long for your salvation, Hashem, and your Torah is my delight. Salvation of Hashem when Mashiach will come. Why? Toratecha sha'ashuai. Torah is my delight. This is what I want to do. I look forward to this only because of that, not for any other reason. So this is talking about the days of Mashiach. Even though it fits beautifully with the letter Tav, he's not just putting it with the letter Tav because it belongs here, but it really is towards the end of the chapter when he's talking about the end of days, the ultimate salvation. What is it for? We want Hashem. It's for your sake that you should bring Mashiach. The Torah is Shashua, it's my delight. It's not for us. Do it for your sake. 175, Techi nafshi u'techaleleka u'mishpatecha yazeruni. Let my soul live and it will praise you, and let your judgment help me. This verse is reminding us that is the ikar avodat adam ba'olam hazeh. The main service, the main job of a person in this world is to serve Hashem. So give me life so I can do that, so I can praise you. And your mishpatecha yazruni. And your judgment will help me. In other words, by keeping the mitzvot, I will obviously be able to be helped. So ultimately, what is the purpose of all of the mitzvot? It's not so that we should be rewarded, even though Hashem wants to reward us. That is our mission, to elevate the Shekhinah, to bring about Hashem's rule over this world, to sanctify Hashem. This is what I'm asking for. This is this is why I want you to give me life, for this reason alone. The last verse, 176, Ta'iti keseh oved. Beautiful verse describing how David HaMelech says, I wandered, I strayed like a lost sheep. Bakesh avdecha, ki mitzvotecha lo shachachti. Seek out your servant, for I have not forgotten your commandments. David HaMelech says, I'm like a sheep that strayed. The Jewish people are compared to a sheep. Many of them have strayed. But he's asking, seek out your servant. What do you mean seek out your servant? Why a sheep? Why seek me out? I have not forgotten your commandments entirely. I may not done everything right. I may have strayed. That's part of the exile that we're in. But Hashem, we're like a sheep and you're like a shepherd. Who looks for who? The sheep will look for the shepherd? No. The shepherd will look for the sheep. Hashem wants us to do teshuvah. And he knocks on our door. Shuvu banim sholavim. Come back to me. And we tell Hashem, yes, we'd love to, but shuvah, return to us. Please return to us. Call us out. Call out to us, of course. But show us that you want us to come back. Because on our own initiative, it will be difficult for many, just like they're like sheep, led astray. Who will look for whom? Hashem, you look for them. So this is what we should be expecting, that Hashem during these days will be looking, will be knocking on the door, will be calling out, and hopefully many of us will return to Him.
Amen.